Hello, beautiful homemakers. I'm continuing with the September chapters of A Thousand Ways to Please the Husband. Chapter 53, Dinner at the Dixons. Is it still as much fun to keep house as it was at first, Charlotte? Asked Bettina, as she and Bob sat down to dinner with the Dixons. Fun? Said Charlotte. Bettina, look at me. Or better still, look at Frank. And the funny part of it all is that Aunt Isabel thinks our keeping house is a result of her preachments against boarding and hotel living. Why, she quite approves of me now, and I'll just keep quiet and let her feel that she was the one who did it. But all the while in my heart I'll be remembering that it was the sight of your happiness that roused my ambition to make a home myself. I tell you, said Mr. Dixon, we can never thank you enough, Bettina. Now shall I play Home Sweet Home on the piano? And will you all join in the chorus? Not if you sing too, said Mrs. Dixon, smiling at her husband's foolishness. I've learned a great deal from you since I began, Bettina, and not the smallest lesson is that of having company without dreading it. I don't try to make things elaborate, just dainty and simple food such as we have every day. Why, tonight I didn't make a single change for you and Bob, and I don't believe I should dread even Aunt Isabel's sudden arrival now. Aunt Isabel is really a good soul, Bettina, said Frank. Charlotte has never learned how much worse her bark is than her bite, and she takes it to heart when Aunt Isabel speaks her mind. Why, I remember so well the scoldings she used to give me when I was a boy, and the cookies she would manage to treat me with afterward. I used to anticipate those pleasant scoldings. If a scolding always comes before food, said Bob, Charlotte must have given you an extra good one before inviting us to partake of that delicious-looking chocolate pie. That evening they had cold sliced ham, creamed potatoes, tomatoes stuffed with rice, peach butter, chocolate pie, and coffee. Chapter 54, A Goodbye Luncheon for Bernadette. Big success, was what Bettina's eyes telegraphed to Ruth across the purple and white asters in the center of a long porch table. Ruth was giving a farewell luncheon for Bernadette, her young cousin, who was leaving that night for a fashionable New York school. Although there was no suggestion of it in the dainty dishes the two girls served to the hungry and vivacious young guests, Ruth was trying out her cooking with all of the stage fright of the beginner. The recipes and suggestions were chiefly Bettina's, and the two had been busy in Ruth's kitchen since early that morning. Bernadette was a critical young person, although light-hearted and affectionate, and Ruth felt that she could set her humble efforts before no sterner judge. Yet all the while, as she tasted each course in its turn, her mind was running on. Will Fred like this? Some day I'll be serving this to Fred. It was certainly a satisfaction to feel oneself able to cook a luncheon acceptable to the younger society set. With each course an enormous motto, supposedly of the Don'ts for Schoolgirls series, was brought in ceremoniously on a tray and suspended from the chandelier over the table, until finally 5 huge, if foolish, don'ts were dangling there for Bernadette's inspection. With the last course, Ruth, in the postman's hat, coat and bag, brought in an endless supply of letters for Bernadette, to be opened at such times as, when you meet your impossible roommate, when you feel the first pangs of homesickness, when reprimanded by a horrid old teacher, when forced to mend your own stockings, etc. Bernadette seized them all delightedly, glanced at the covers, and cried out, half in laughter, half in tears, "Oh, girls, I simply can't go way off there. I'll die!" Her friends fell upon her with scoldings and hugs, and in the midst of the noise and clamor, Ruth and Bettina slipped out to laugh and talk over Ruth's first serious culinary effort. The menu consisted of iced cantaloupe balls, chicken croquettes, potatoes and cream, green peppers stuffed with corn, rolls, peach pickles, cherry salad, wafers, chocolate cream pudding, and coffee. Chapter 55. Bettina Plans an Announcement Luncheon. "And so I thought, if you were willing, I would have the luncheon the last of this week," said Bettina to Alice one sultry afternoon, which they were spending on Bettina's porch. "That's dear of you, Bettina. Oh, how queer it will seem to have everyone know about it. You must let me help with the luncheon, of course." "No, indeed, Alice. Ruth and I are going to do it all alone, and the guest of honor is not to lift a finger. You can advise us, of course, but you mustn't arrive that day till everything is ready. I want to tell you about a few plans I've made. I wish I could consult Harry, too. But he won't be at the announcement party." "No, but he's the leading man in the drama, and important even when off the stage. Let's telephone him to come here to dinner tonight. It's so warm that I have planned only a lunch, but we can set the porch table and have a jolly informal time. Do call him up, Alice." "I'd love to, of course, if you really want us." "Indeed I do, but we'll have to hurry, for it's after 5 now." "I'll help you," said Alice, after Harry had given his hearty acceptance. "Let me fix the salad." "All right, and I'll stir up some little tea cakes. It's better not to cut those beets too small, Alice. That makes them soft. I never had them till just before I served the salad. There, that's fine. Do you want to fix the parsley to garnish the ham? Ham looks so much better with parsley that I never fail to garnish it. I have nasturtiums for the center of the table, and will garnish the salad with them, too. It'll be a festive little meal. What else can I do while you're baking the tea cakes?" "You could make the iced tea, Alice. You do everything so easily and deftly that I love to watch you. And you have never cooked at all until lately, have you?" "No, but I really like it. Wouldn't it be a joke if I should become very domestic?" "Well, your fate is pointing in that direction. Time is swiftly passing, and in a few short weeks. Alice, shall I call off the announcement luncheon?" "Oh, no, no, Bettina. Let fate do her worst. I'm resigned." Supper that night consisted of cold sliced ham, beet salad, bread, butter, tea cakes, applesauce, and iced tea. Chapter 56. Ruth and Bettina Make Preparations. "Oh, Bettina, aren't the butterflies darling?" exclaimed Ruth, looking once more at the table display of her work. "And with everything ready to begin in the morning, won't things be easy for both of us? What shall I do next?" "Not a thing, Ruth dear. You've worked too hard all this afternoon, I'm afraid. Now we're going to sit down to a good hot dinner and tell Bob all about our preparations." Something smells good," said Ruth. "I've been so busy with all these cunning things that I haven't even thought of eating. But now that you mention it, I'll admit that I have a fine, healthy appetite." "Well, dinner is almost ready, and Bob will be here any minute. It's all in the oven except the corn, meatloaf, sweet potatoes, and apricot cobbler. Oh, how good it sounds! More sensible than all our fluffy dishes for the announcement luncheon. But then I do love fluffy things. I'm sure Alice will like it, and all the others, too. Makes me most wish I'd kept my engagement a secret, and announced it with ceremony as Alice is doing. But I couldn't somehow." "No, you couldn't, Ruth, and neither could Fred. He'd give it away if you didn't. So I guess there's no use wishing you had kept it. Anyhow, you just suit me as you are. You've been such a dear to help with the luncheon. Goodness, there's Bob now." The dinner consisted of beef loaf, sweet potatoes, corn on the cob, bread, butter, and apricot cobbler. Chapter 57. A Rainbow Announcement Luncheon. "Oh, Bettina, how lovely!" cried the 10 guests in a chorus, as Ruth and Bettina ushered them into the softly lighted dining room. Not one had had even a glimpse of the luncheon table before, for Ruth had been entertaining them on the porch, while Bettina put on the finishing touches. It all seemed a burst of soft rainbow colors. "What is it?" cried someone. "How did you ever get the rainbow effect?" "Let's not examine it too closely," said Bettina. "You know, a rainbow, after all, is nothing but drops of water with the sun shining through, and maybe my rainbow table has a prosy explanation, too." From the low mass of variegated garden flowers in the center, pink, yellow, lavender, orange, blue, and as many others as the girls could find, ran strips of soft tulle in rainbow colors. The strips were attached at the outer end to the dainty butterflies, which perched lightly on the tulle-covered candy cups. These candy cups held pink, lavender, and green Jordan almond candies. More butterflies in all sizes and colors hovered among the flowers. Upon the plain white name cards, little butterflies had been outlined in black and decorated in butterfly colors. Ruth and Bettina had cut with the scissors around this outline, and then, when it had been cut almost away, had folded back the butterfly so that it stood up on the card, as ready for flight as its brothers and sisters. "Aren't they cunning?" exclaimed Barbara, taking her butterfly from her favor cup. "Goodness, it's attached to something!" Pulling gently by the rainbow tulle to which the butterfly had been pasted, she drew forth from the greenery in the center a little golden bag. It was in reality a little fat bag of soft yellow silk tied with gold cord and holding something that, seen through the mesh, appeared to be gold. The other girls in great excitement drew forth their little bags. "Rice," declared Mary, "though it looks yellow." "It's the bag of gold at the foot of the rainbow," exclaimed Ruth, with flushed cheeks. "Discovered by—" "Harry Harrison and Alice!" cried the girls, laughing almost hysterically, for one small card which read, "Discovered by," and the two names in gold letters, was tied to the little bag by the gold cord. "Alice, how did you ever manage to keep it a secret?" asked someone. "Well, it would have been harder if you had all known Harry, but you see, we haven't been with the crowd much lately, have we? Now admit it, you haven't even missed me." "But you were more of a butterfly than any of the rest of us, and the limits of the old crowd don't always bound your flutterings." "I'm not a butterfly any more," said Alice. "I suppose I'll have a butterfly wedding. Harry will detest it, but he'll have to give in on that. But after that I expect to be as domestic as Bettina here, though not such a success at it, probably. Aren't these orange baskets the prettiest things?" The girls, in their excitement, had almost forgotten to eat, but now they looked down at their plates. Fruit cups and orange baskets, with handles of millinery wire, twisted with pink, green, yellow, and violet tulle, added to the rainbow effect. The baskets were placed on paper doilies on tea plates, and were artistically lined with mint leaves. "It looks too pretty to eat," said Dorothy. "Ruth will feel hurt if you don't like it, but I know you will," said Bettina. "She prepared this course, and made most of the table decorations, too." "And didn't you wish that you were announcing something yourself, Ruth?" asked Mary. "Although I don't believe the crowd could stand two such surprises. We've known Fred and you so long that your engagement seems the natural thing. But when a perfectly strange man like Mr. Harrison happens by and helps himself to one of our number, well, it certainly takes my breath away. Where did you first meet him, Alice? Was it love at first sight?" "Love at first sight? Bob introduced us, here in this very house, and I thought Harry the most disagreeably serious man I'd ever had the misfortune to meet, and he thought me the most disagreeably frivolous girl he had ever seen. So our feud began, and of course we had to see each other to fight it out. And then comes Bettina's rainbow luncheon to show us how serious the feud proved to be," laughed Barbara. "What, more courses, Bettina? This is a beautiful luncheon. I wonder who will be the next to discover the treasure at the foot of the rainbow." The menu consisted of fruit cups and orange baskets, cream of celery soup, whipped cream, salt wafers, tuna molds, egg sauce, potatoes a la Bettina, green peppers stuffed with creamed cauliflower, rolls, butter, head lettuce, Russian dressing, thin sandwiches in fancy shapes, marshmallow cream, and coffee. Chapter 58. An Early Caller. Bob had scarcely left the house the next morning when Bettina was called to the door. "I couldn't resist coming," said Alice. "The announcement party was lovely, and I must thank you for doing it. Aren't you tired to pieces?" "No, Ruth helped me a great deal, and by the time Bob came home to dinner the luncheon dishes were washed and put away, and the house was in apple pie order. Everything tasted delicious, Bettina. Maybe it sounds altogether too practical for my own announcement party, but I'm armed with a pencil and a notebook, and I do want to get some of those recipes of yours." "You're welcome to them all, Alice, of course. They are all recipes that I've used over and over again, and I'm sure of them." "What kind of soup was it? Celery?" "I thought so. Wasn't it hard to prepare?" "Why, Alice, it was canned celery soup, diluted with hot milk. Then I added a teaspoonful of chopped parsley and a teaspoonful of chopped red pepper." "But surely it had whipped cream in it, Bettina." "Yes, I put a teaspoonful of whipped cream in the bottom of the bouillon cup and poured the hot soup on it, so that it would be well mixed." "Well, that accounts for it. I thought it must be made with whipped cream. Oh, Bettina, everything was so pretty. The tulle bows on the baskets holding the wafers and the rolls, and the butterflies perched on them. How did you ever think of it?" "Well, butterflies are a happy choice for decorations. They can be put anywhere, and they are so easy to make. At least, Ruth says so. You use paper doilies a great deal, don't you? Aren't they expensive?" "Expensive? Well, I wish you'd price them. They are so inexpensive that I like to use them even for a very informal meal. They add such a dainty touch, I think. I must write down the recipes for your tuna loaf, and green peppers stuffed with cauliflower, and Russian dressing, and oh, that wonderful kind of rainbow dessert. Bettina, what was that dessert?" "Marshmallow cream made with gelatin and cream and marshmallows and whites of eggs. I puzzled a long time over a real rainbow dessert, and finally decided on marshmallow cream with a few variations. Come into the kitchen where I keep my card index, and I'll get the recipes for you." Chapter 59. Ruth Comes to Luncheon. "And here we are, busily planning Alice's affairs," said Bettina, "when we might be talking of yours, Ruth. Are you sure that you don't want any parties or showers or affairs of any sort?" Sure, said Ruth emphatically. "I may be silly, Bettina, but to me such a fuss beforehand takes something away from the beauty of the wedding. And then there are other reasons. We've had to postpone building till next summer, and may not be married till the house is done. You know that. So we'll have been engaged a long time. It seems to me that after a long engagement like ours, it's better to have a simple wedding of no parties. Alice's is happening just as I always expected that it would. A surprising announcement, a short engagement, and many parties, with an elaborate wedding as the climax. Sometimes I think that sort would be the kind to have, but you see, Bettina, when you're expecting to be married only once, you want to have just the kind that seems best to you. And yours will be just right for you, Ruth," said Bettina warmly. "You are you, and Fred is Fred, and I can't imagine either of you caring for much excitement. And when you are in your new house, I'm going to have you over at least once a week to just such a dear little luncheon as this, or rather as much like it as I can devise. Bettina, how did you have time to cook such good things?" "Well," said Bettina, "Bob will have these same things for dinner tonight, with the addition of some cold sliced meat. So now, Ruth, we have a long afternoon before us to sew and talk." Bettina's luncheon consisted of Bettina's Mexican salad, brown bread, apricot preserves, orange cake, and hot chocolate. And this ends the September chapters.